Hello, welcome to this presentation on a united planet. I am proposing a world constitution for planetary laws and united organization for the planet. So we are looking at a crisis of climate change, pollution, biodiversity extinction, in the sixth extinction. If you want to know more, the UN makes international panel for climate change reports, and there's also the World Scientist Warning for Climate Emergency 2022, which is a recent report. And basically, we are looking at into 2100, possibly between 4 to 8 degrees warming. And in the past, according to Wells Wallace's 2017 article, The Uninhabitable Earth, 252 years ago, our planet warmed 5 degrees by CO2, the same situation now, except it was much slower, and 97% of the planet died. So we really need to look at this and make changes. And our capitalistic system is not working. It's not sustainable. And people like Naomi Klein and Mann and Wainwright and others, Pope Francis and Ghosh and many people who are looking at this crisis understand that this is an opportunity to change for everything for the better. So we'll be looking at spirituality as a relational and social psychological aspect of our humanness. And I'm going to be defining spirituality as connecting to truth beyond ourselves. This is an essential part of a global governance and the Earth Charter, what we're going to be looking at soon. So we're going to be looking at social psychology, and one important thing to understand is there's a fundamental attribution error, first coined by Lee Ross, and this is that people think that it's because of dispositions why people do what they do. But actually, the number one reason is the times and the systems. It's temporal. The second reason is situational. And the third reason is dispositional. So looking at the times and the systems right now, we have global politics fighting over oil and resources and using money and capitalism as a mean for decision making. And I'm going to be proposing something called Earth Eco, where we remove money and just have universal shares, like we all have access to whatever we need and we can focus on real values. Right now, the UN is in anarchy. Weiss talks about this in his book. In political science, the United Nations is not a government, it is an anarchy. So just real quick, just so that we can eliminate money from our systems analysis right now. The currencies and money are, if you look at the bottom here, imperialism uses this to empower themselves. The currency is actually an enabler. It's like an energy to perpetuate the imperialism. And it is an inverted value system that holds imperialistic systems in place energetically. So it is a belief system that controls our social psychology, and it is unsustainable and destructive for our planet. So capitalism is the means for imperial power. And I have a list of books on this and in the study of money. And by eliminating money and just having international shares, and we can have wise allocation of resources. This is Earth Eco, and you can look this up at healingevolution.center. But there is plenty enough water, food, and housing for everyone, and if it would really allow us to put our time and energy towards purposeful activity. So the United Nations, just a brief history. It started through the U.S. and after World War I, and then it was ineffective. Woodrow Wilson wasn't even allowed to join it. He was the one who started it, and then with Theodore Roosevelt during World War II, he reinvented he changed the League of Nations to the United Nations, and this had a Security Council. So he signed with Stalin and Winston Churchill from the UK, and then so these three were the Security Council, and then they added in China, and soon after France. So these are the main five people or countries that control the force of the United Nations. So there is a General Assembly. It's 193 countries, and then it has Palestine and the Holy See as observers. And these nation states have a representative that come and meets. And then there is the Economic and Social Council. And with this is more, it actually is more geographical, so it has a lot more representation of the global South, and it has a lot more civil society working through that and projects with civil society, and it tends to have a lot more push and development coming through the Economic and Social Council. There was a trustee council for getting nation states into democratic systems. They have consider all nation states with democratic systems now, so they only meet once a year. And then they have the Secretariat and Secretary General, which kind of implements all of the decisions or sets up meetings for the General Assembly and Economic and Social Council. So then we have the International Court of Justice that is also a part of the security, or it's very similar to the Security Council, where they also work on climate change too, but it's mostly nation states warring, and because of the five main members, anything to do with them obviously gets vetoed. So there is no security on those five countries that I had mentioned, the permanent five. So what works is it's pretty plastic. It's always trying to the United Nations is changing and morphing, and there's a lot of turnover in the positions. And the civil society has been very successful in making things happen. What is not working is that the dominance of the Westphalia, and especially of those permanent five, and then the unilateral leadership of the USA, which is considered actually a second world power, and then the funding issues, which, as I said, if we can switch the whole system over to a non-currency system for universal shares would be ideal. So what I would be proposing is we drop the United Nations down to the three groups: the General Assembly, the Economic Social Council, and the Secretariat and Secretary General. And the United Planet would become the Security Council, International Court of Justice, and the Trustee Council, plus a little bit more. The Earth Charter is something that started, well, in 1987, but really it wasn't formalized or endorsed until 2000. And they had a Earth Council from 1994 to 2000 to really develop it. So it has contents for the four pillars. I mean, it's about human rights and planetary rights and the rights of all life and beings and ecosystems. So the implementation, so primarily in Spanish-speaking countries, where soft law becomes hard policy, and religions worldwide are using the Earth Charter. It has a community action tool. It's being put into education. The Costa Rica has really turned around massive, violent, heavily populated urban areas through using the Earth Charter, and Mexico has really implemented it in pretty much all levels of their government and has created many new branches and committees and has been great at reforming their government with the Earth Charter as a tool. Again, Bolivia created a Rights of Mother Earth Act. The Maori in New Zealand, they were able to use the Earth Charter and other examples to get a river acknowledged as a legal entity. Japan, just one woman, Wakeko Hironaka, who worked in the government, she handed these out, and really just with this one woman, she invited a lot of prominent people for organizing and really has implemented programs in Japan as well. So this is also being used in other countries like Germany, Sri Lanka, Netherlands, Armenia, to name a few. But it is making huge systematic changes and changes for well-being within countries for the examples that it is set. And Bosselman, Westra, and Weiss, others, they are really looking towards the Earth Charter for a global constitution. So there's natural law, which is the ways that nature works, and really formal law should be in line with that natural law. And the Earth Charter, new production, energy, sustainability laws that would be, parts of the new economy where there would be laws set to protect the environment and reorganize the world in ways that is sustainable and based in real values. And then to be able to have a process to enforce this, there is the responsibility to protect doctrine in 2005 that was developed in the United Nations. And this it was for, recommended for crimes against humanity, genocide, ethnocide, war crimes, and it's for under the conditions of right intention, last resort, proportional means, reasonable prospects of success. However, they still wanted the Security Council to be the preferred decision maker. So this idea that all the countries can come together, and also I would like to propose that possibly we could have the United Planet as the #1 authority over all militaries in the world. So if there is a need to stage a coup and replace a leader because they are not following legal laws of the planet, that would be, something that we could use as a tool. I also, I live in Thailand, and we have coups all the time. We've had 22 coups in this country, and it's always been a peaceful thing. And it's like when, the whole country is divided, the military just takes it over, and they have that third party being a king who allows them to take over the prime ministership, and then people settle down, and it's kind of like it always goes quiet, and people are okay with an interim. So it's an example where then they start arranging a new election, and then there's another chance for people to vote for somebody who everybody is more happy with as a whole country. So informal law is when people are attuned to each other and care about relational dynamics, which is very common in tribes and in healthy communities where people are really attuned to each other. So your meds is a system that I came up with. It's a self and relational psychotherapy treatment where it involves social psychology and neurobiology and heartfulness and mindfulness, and it really puts together perspectives of all 4 fields of anthropology. So we're really looking at our humanness, and then it includes a diagnostic system called the Mindful Evolution Diagnostic System, and it is based on nervous systems and behavioral traits, and being able to attune to where people are coming from and what's going on with their personality, order or disorder, and being able to relate properly. So it's Gregory Lester, he was in the DSM-5, and he talks about, I mean, the personality disorders are the most important thing in psychology, and they're all over the place, and especially in politics. So we really need to be able to look at personality disorders and know how to orient ourselves towards them and relate to them for proper functioning of relationality and for systems. And also people who are expert in working with personality disorders, they could be, working for treatments for nation state leaders or terrorists. And this should be a part of being able to manage people who are in positions of power over people's lives and well-being. So what I'm proposing for a United Planet is a main council with Indigenous leaders and people who idealize the Earth Charter and Earth Eco experts and scholars, rotating terms, and just, not a world leader, not one person, but, an attuned hierarchy will know who is the best for each meeting to kind of run it or hold it, who's the most expert in that. And so they can meet on different issues and keep changing the leadership. A religious council, which is a separate council for problem solving religious issues and implementing Earth Eco and the Earth Charter around the world. This is kind of happening anyway, although I think that this would be a great other council that could just be part of problem solving for religions and implementing more solutions. A security council for nation state leaders and the International Court of Justice, looking at corrective treatment, also led by Indigenous and people who are expert in working with personality disorders and how to handle things. And then at last resort, there's the responsibility to protect and also, the ability to use other militaries. So, the Court of Justice would be appointed by the main council, and also a trusteeship would get active again in helping nation states put in an interim and set up a temporary government while they get ready to redesign or make a new government. So some arguments is about, having a global government, and we've seen that Indigenous people and the civil society are the way multilateralism is developed, and to put them at the top would really bring in even quality of multilateralism and checks and balances on world leaders. And it wouldn't be one world leader. So these leaders are a part of leaders in general are a part of nature. So to find people who are really in line with the ethics and values of the collective whole are people who should be in there. And so religious leaders, they can complement for implementation, mediation, peace building. And again, they would be healthy in themselves. We can check them for, making sure that they are also of health, of nervous system health, and that they can help other parts of their religion throughout the world. Citizen sovereignty, if it's already compromised, giving nation states a chance for renewal, like Thailand does. If leaders are not responsible to their people or to the world, then they should lose their rights, and we should get a new person in there. So EUROMEDS is a system that can also be supportive in providing other interventions and assist in violator and victim dynamics more efficiently than things are happening today. And Earth Eco brings back real values, abundance, purpose, and it will really allow people to have authentic, valuable projects and purposes in life. So in summary, the United Planet would be an Earth Charter, Earth Eco for a new economic system, and Indigenous and civil society leaders. It would have a Security Council, International Court of Justice, a Trusteeship Council, and also be informed by your meds for supportive spiritual healing. So, I mean, this is really exciting because there's so many innovations that need to happen. We need an all systems go. There's lots of jobs, education, healing activities, projects for healing and multilateral organization, and so many opportunities that could give more value to life in general and personal purpose. So sorry, this is only 15 minutes, but I hope you can look up some of the resources and return for a nice 2-hour presentation. Thank you so much.